Hi everyone, good morning. I'm Sophia Traeger, radical pleasurist and intimacy coach. I'm excited because I'm with my teacher and friend Amy Weisfield.
Yes.
Weisfield, yes, I said it right.
Yay.
And we are just coming off. Okay, I'm gonna say a lot of puns. I'm just feeling it, guys. I'm feeling like a prepubescent boy right now. When you come on, please say hi. Is this your first video?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, everyone give
so excited.
Lots and lots of hearts and love for Amy. It's her first live video on Facebook. And yeah, be sure to say hi to us and share because it's going to be super juicy. And I'm just, yeah, like I said, I'm feeling a lot of puns that are going to be happening. Because that's how I roll. So yeah, please share, have the courage to share. This conversation is really important. It's not just a local conversation, it is a national conversation. Thanks to women like Mama Gina, thanks to women like Amy, who are talking about reclaiming and coming back to themselves, their most essence, which is our pussy sisters. That's who we are. So I'm so inspired because I just came off of a weekend with Amy in the Gorge, which was gorgeous, and made me engorged. I can't stop. It's just, I just can't.
It's too easy.
It's so easy. Her body sex workshop, and I don't even know where to begin. There's so much flowing through my mind and body right now. You're going to have to help in navigating this conversation because so much occurred in 2 days of sharing so intimately. I mean, talk about intimate sisterhood.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my jam. Intimate sisterhood, not just connecting back with my own pussy, but having the privilege and honor to witness my sisters. Oh my gosh, I was telling Amy all weekend how every woman needs to experience this.
Let's tell them what it is. They don't know what it is.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
So Sophia came to my body sex workshop retreat, which was this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 2 days. And we got real. We got naked and we got vulnerable and we talked about our bodies. We talked about our orgasms. We talked about ourselves, all in a circle of sacred sisterhood. And it's really an amazing, beautiful thing. It's different every single time based on who the women are, what they bring, what their stories are. And it's always really just juicy, and it makes you feel alive, and it makes you think about things that you haven't thought about.
Whoa. Woohoo! We're real here.
And it changes your life, I think, if you really soak it up and take it in.
Yes. Well, it changed yours.
For sure.
And that's why you even stepped into that space.
Yeah. And this is all based on Betty Dodson's work, which we haven't mentioned yet. But speaking of women who have changed the face of sisterhood and sexuality and are helping us reclaim our wisdom and our creativity and our power.
Yes.
Betty has been doing this since the 70s.
Yes.
So this is her workshop.
My arm's getting tired. That's why I keep going back and forth. Hang with us. So it's, myself included, there's women who say, I'm sexually empowered, I know what I want, I don't have problems with orgasm, I don't have problems masturbating, I don't have problems touching myself or looking at myself. And this workshop gave me the opportunity to go even deeper, literally, and look at myself in a way that I never take the time to really look at myself. I mean, Amy's company is Joyful Self-Love.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And truly, there's lots of ways that I give myself self-love. And what came up when I was talking to Amy, like the first day, was, well, do you really take the time
Right.
to be with yourself, to touch yourself, to give yourself pleasure?
Not just get off.
Not just get
scratch
off.
an itch. Not
Yeah.
just, you know.
Not just get
Yeah.
off, but like date yourself.
Yeah.
And the answer was no, I don't. And she asked me why, and I was stumped. I was like, I don't know why I don't take time out to massage myself with some nice oil and really look at my pussy in the mirror with a light and talk to her like the way that men have talked to my pussy. There's men who are amazing and they've talked to my pussy and it's beautiful and it makes me feel so sexy. So why don't I give that to myself? And that's what I mean by reconnecting instead of dissociating. There's a lot more dissociating I know that happens. It's not just like, oh yeah, I can have an orgasm with myself and a partner. It's like, can you really look at yourself? That's the question. So one of my favorite parts of this workshop was the genital show and tell.
Yeah.
Where it was up close, personal, mirror, light. And Amy was sitting so close to me.
Just like this. Side by side.
And, asking me questions and to keep helping me come back into my pussy. And then, there were 3 of us, so the other woman was also looking. And it was beautiful. It was such a beautiful experience to be witnessed in that way. Me witnessing myself in that way.
Yeah, and I think the word witness is really important here because you were witnessing yourself, but also we were witnessing you. And there's something about that, being witnessed by other women in particular, that makes you see yourself in a different way. Yeah. And it's very powerful.
Yeah.
And it brings up things that perhaps you hadn't heard of before or you hadn't thought of before. So, yeah.
If you think this is awesome, then share. Have the courage to share this on your timelines because this conversation needs to be had. It's like any other conversation. There's nothing taboo about it. There's nothing wrong about it. This is who we are, sisters, and we need to keep this conversation open and going. So have the courage to share.
So we talked a fair bit about how, we don't look at each other. It's not okay to look at other women in the locker room while you're changing, right? And we don't even look at our sisters or our parents or family members. So the fact that we are actually looking at both ourselves, our own pussies, and somebody else's is really educational and super empowering.
And it's beautiful.
And it's amazing.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
It's like...
And the other thing that we did as part of that genital show and tell was we learned a lot about anatomy. Mm-hmm. We learned about different types of orgasms. Mm-hmm. We learned about the G-spot, the C-spot.
Very enlightening.
Yeah.
Very enlightening.
And then we talked a fair bit. We did what's called the name and claim, right? Which is where you actually give yourself a name. This is an important part of your creativity, your brain, your soul, your body. And most of us don't have names for our pussies. So we gave ourselves names that some of us that fit and that stick. Mm-hmm. And then we had a conversation with our pussies.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people cry during that. And a lot of times it's like, I haven't listened to you. I haven't paid enough attention to you. I haven't always treated you well. Mm-hmm. I've let people enter you before I was ready, or I didn't stick up for you.
Yeah.
So that it can be a very powerful moment.
Yeah.
That name and claim bit.
I've had that conversation with my pussy before.
And
I've written letters to her. And she's forgiven me. I mean, our pussies are just such amazing souls. Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, meet Sassy. That's the name that came from my pussy. Sassy.
Mine is Peachy Keen. So, yeah. And I mean, I guess the other piece of that is just listening to our bodies, right? Like there's more wisdom in our bodies than we give ourselves credit for.
Yes.
And it's about kind of shutting off just the mental chatter and busyness in our brains.
Yes.
And tuning into our bodies. This is what you were talking about earlier, where we're sort of dissociated from our bodies.
Oh, very much so. That's what I talk about all the time. And this was, again, taking it to the next, just going deeper into it. It's beyond our bodies. It's our essence, and it's not just the organ. It's not that at all. It is what it represents for us. It is, for me, always been divine creativity and pleasure. Like, again, let's come back to that.
Yeah.
So I love that you talked the whole weekend and you kept bringing it back to pleasure. Like, what is my pleasure?
Yeah, follow the tendrils of pleasure in your body is one of the ways that I think about it.
Yes, what is my pleasure? Like, what
and why
ways
is that
feel
important?
Good?
Right? Why is that? I mean, we're not talking about just like sex. and it's not really even just pleasure. It's about like radical wholeness and healing.
Yes.
Right? And feminine power and wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And all of that comes from pleasure. And it's so, like, I mean, I think people think I'm a little crazy sometimes when I say you can actually heal yourself with pleasure.
Well,
but it's so true.
You're preaching to the choir here.
Yay,
and that's what
you.
I mean by when we're dissociated from our pussies and pleasure. That's why we feel miserable in our lives. That's why we feel miserable in sex and relationships, and why it's just not enough. Why we're discontented. We're unsatisfied. Like, we could be having orgasms all day long. It's not about that. It is this deep, like, disconnection from what I want to say, God, goddess. Mm-hmm. This dissociation from our bodies and our pussies is this deep disconnection that is causing so much suffering in, women who are in long-term relationships or who are single or who are dating. We are disconnected from our essence.
Well, we let society and culture strip that away from us. Like, sometimes my own story was I didn't even know I was missing that. I felt complete. Mm-hmm. I was in a long-term. I still am in a long-term happy marriage. I was having good sex. I was very involved in my community, a very conscious parent. I mean, a lot of things. I was defining myself in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. But one of those ways was not as a sexual person, not as a woman. And that part was sleeping, was cut off. Mm-hmm. And my whole life changed when that piece was uncovered and reinvented.
Yes, and that's a great perspective.
Yeah.
You kept saying over and over again how you felt alive.
Yeah.
You felt alive again, to be connected to yourself in that way. And it's a spectrum of disconnection. Mm-hmm. And, no matter how empowered we are, because I feel pretty empowered, it was still, this body sex workshop experience was still so unique.
Yeah.
So unique. And again, I keep coming back to the witnessing. Like, we don't do this in isolation. It's not just looking in the mirror. There's something about, and it's going to take me some time to process, but, being witnessed by you and this other woman, there's something about that that's really special.
It's the best form of sisterhood there is. We don't allow ourselves to embrace each other in non-sexual but naked ways, right? And being really vulnerable, but feeling safe. It's so important to me that everybody in the workshop feels safe and supported. Mm-hmm. And we've all been through stuff. Every single one of us is traumatized in some way from living in this patriarchal culture, whether it's, a mental or a physical form of trauma. And this being supported by your sisters and not only noticing pleasure, but seeking it and taking it and knowing that you deserve it is a really important way of healing.
Yes. And also, it just occurred to me, by being witnessed, I'm allowing myself to receive admiration.
Yeah.
I'm allowing myself to receive love. We're allowing each other to see each other as the most magnificent beings that we are.
So this
with all our imperfections and our insecurities and self-consciousness around our body fat and all that other shit. It's like, all right, well, here I am. And you're seeing me.
And didn't you find, Sophia, that you recognized yourself in the other stories that you were hearing?
Oh, yeah.
Like, we all have our own unique stories.
Yeah,
we all have our own, like, bullshit body image, whatever. Some people to greater degree than others. Mm-hmm. But, like, the beauty of the sisterhood to me and the sharing is that you recognize bits and pieces of yourself in these other women's stories.
Absolutely.
And
yeah,
so
huge.
And so it enables you to be a little more compassionate.
Yes.
Not just towards other people, but towards yourself.
Yeah, and not feeling alone. That's always a big thing that I'm bringing up is if we can be courageous and speak about these things, like here's how I masturbate, here's how I have sex, here's where I feel self-conscious, then other women are saying, oh yeah, I feel that way too.
Right.
I thought it was the only one. That's a big one. That's a really big one too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so much more.
So take just a moment. I don't know how long you want to talk, but take just a moment to share, like, what made you say yes to this? Because this is not an everyday experience.
Well, the universe always provides exactly what I need. And a few months ago, I was thinking just for myself, in my own business, to teach a vagina workshop. Mm-hmm. I take that from the vagina monologues. I want to step up more boldly in my own teaching, and I know how valuable it is to be naked together and to help women connect back with their pussies.
Yeah.
So I had that thought, and I put that out into the universe, and I connected with someone to collaborate, and then Amy and I were planning to have coffee, but then we saw each other even earlier at the Vulva Art Project, and she was there, and I'm like, hey, and she mentioned the Body Sex Workshop, and she invited me to be a participant, and of course I said yes right away, and I said, yeah, that's perfect, because I can't teach anything that I don't experience myself, so it was just a perfect synchronicity.
And even just that, like, in that story, I hear you said yes, like, you didn't hesitate, you were like, this is something that I need for myself and want for myself. And even though it's really scary, you were like, I'm making a practice of saying yes.
Yeah.
And that ended up serving you in a really powerful, important way. What was scary? I mean, as you were thinking about coming to the workshop, because it's there are plenty of women who think about it and who don't come.
Yeah. So I actually wasn't scared when I said yes at all. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Of course I'm going to go. As the time neared,
yeah,
that's when I was like, what am I getting myself into? And as you all know, I can be pretty edgy. And what was really feeling super edgy for me was what you call the group wank.
Right.
It's the group masturbation experience. And even saying it, it's like, ooh, yeah, that happened. And I don't feel cringy about it at all, but I was scared. I was like, what? Like, I don't have a problem masturbating, but with other women? What's the point of that? Like, I don't even... And I asked Amy today, I'm like, so what is the point of that? So that was what was feeling really edgy for me.
So, and I mean, that's totally legitimate. And, again, this isn't something that we do every day, but, and I just love saying that, like the group wank,
It's fun. I love that, actually. It's super fun.
And the first day, we talked about the big thing is like the genital show and tell and the name and claim and hearing each other's stories and talking about our orgasms and our bodies and how we feel and building connection between sisters. And then the
Which
second...
is super perfect and just perfectly paced.
Yeah,
I felt
thank you.
so at ease. The first day, I was like, oh, I'm so ready for this group wanking thing. Let's do it. Let's do it right now.
Then the second day that happens, and there was some more trepidation, even though at the end of day
It's
one you were
true.
like, yeah, I'm not going to have any
It's
trouble.
true.
But then on day two, when you
like, oh,
came in,
shit,
you were
it's
like,
happening.
oh, yeah, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
So the reason that this is how I feel, this is what I think about the group wank and why I think it's so important. Number one, we don't often have an opportunity to witness each other in our most private of endeavors. And masturbation, I think, is even more private than having sex because you're really in yourself.
It's so
you're
true.
following your pleasure. You can't hide. You can't hide behind giving to somebody else. It's all about your pleasure.
You make sounds,
And
you don't know what's going to come out.
And sound is
It's
encouraged.
really about
and
letting go.
And the sounds of the other women really carry you, don't they? Like hearing other people can be...
Yes and no. It's like
Yeah.
it was a little distracting, but also so beautiful. So beautiful. I thought it was going to be a bit pornographic, but I'm like, no, that's a real sound.
Yeah.
That is coming from her pussy.
And throat. Yeah,
You know?
so there's that piece of it, and there's also like just the educational piece of it. Like, oh, this is and I teach a specific type of masturbation, which is Betty Dodson's rock and roll orgasm technique. And
Which is comforting to have something.
to fall back on, but you're encouraged
Yes.
to do your own thing also.
Yes.
You don't have to do the rock and roll.
Yeah.
But the purpose of it is to incorporate a whole bunch of different techniques which help you stay embodied. So those things are movement and breath and sound and embodiment, staying in your body, like through mindfulness. And so that's really what it's about, is being supported by sisterhood, being witnessed, and educating yourself about, what are all the available tools to me.
Yeah. And it's the most unique thing I think I've ever done sexually.
And then afterwards, you liked what comes afterwards, right?
So for me, touch is so important, and there were different opportunities. There was the bossy touch, which was an opportunity for each of us to ask exactly for what we want. Touch, not sexual.
Right.
Just I was lying on a table, and I had two people hooking me up. Like, when does that happen? And it was beautiful, and I just got
Like
to ask
holding
for
their hands on
whatever
your
I wanted.
heart.
Yeah, like put your
Touching your head.
like pull my arms up, massage
Yeah.
me here. It was,
Yeah.
it's such an amazing exercise for women who are very uncomfortable asking for what we want and what we desire and how we desire it. Like, touch me, more firm in this way. So that was an
Right.
amazing practice. Thank
It's
you for
good
that.
practice, yeah.
And then the second day after the group wank, I just noticed, like, I wanted cuddling. I wanted someone to hold me. Like, that's
Yeah.
my aftercare. Like, somebody to really hold me. And so we had a group massage. And again, when do you ever have more than one person putting their hands on you?
In a non-sexual
In
way.
a non-sexual way. And just the love that I felt from the two of you.
Yeah.
After
Yay.
having such a vulnerable experience, masturbating. And then just to have this aftercare was, for me, incredible. Just, I think that was so the most memorable for me, just how I felt receiving this loving touch from two people, two women. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
else
mean,
to
there's-
say about it. It was just so amazing.
I think also that there's a power in just like you've had all this juiciness going on in your body, and you've gone up, and then maybe you're kind of slowly coming down, and it's a way to like move that energy around in your body a little bit, so that it doesn't just dissipate. It doesn't just disappear. It's grounded.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Just, I felt incredible amounts of love and incredible connection with my pussy and with other women, and that's what I'm all about. And I have deep gratitude. I feel so much gratitude. And
I feel the same way. I'm so thankful that you came and brought your best self and your vulnerability and really non-judgmental openness.
Thank you. And I just want you all to know, because this is just how we roll. We're in a lobby of a building where there's like lots of different tenants, and men and women are walking by, and we're like,
the lighting in my office was not
just
great for
talking
this.
about pussy and masturbation, and people are walking by and they're like, "Happy Monday, everybody! Yay! Hopefully that turned you on or something."
Yeah.
So I really want you all to look up Amy's work. It's joyfulselflove.com. See what she's all about. She's an incredible facilitator of healing, and there might be some awesome, juicy collaborations between us, so look out for that.
It'll be fun.
And really, the most radical thing and powerful thing that you can do in this moment, well, two. One is look at your pussy. Two,
love yourself.
Share this video. Because we all need to feel connected and courageous.
Yeah.
And we need each other. We need to have this conversation, and we have the means to do this. We have Facebook Lives and Mama Gina and all Eve Ensler and all these amazing women,
great.
Betty Dotson.
And you, Sophia Traeger. The maven.
Thank you.
And I'm going to add just one more thing, if I may, and that is embrace pleasure wherever you find it and savor it. Like, it could be as simple as enjoying the warmth of that cup of coffee in your hands, or spending an extra second to feel how wonderful the warm water feels on your back in the shower. Like, it doesn't have to be a big involved thing. It can be small. And but you're remapping your brain, and you're healing yourself in savoring those small pleasures. So go out and enjoy something amazing today.
That's the best message to give. Mindfulness, mindful pleasuring. I love it.
And share the video.
And share the video.
And come see me.
And come see Amy. And come see me. And enter to win coaching with me through the VIP experience contest.
Yeah.
And we love you all. And we'll be seeing more of you, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sophia, for my first video.
I know. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.